Good morning, students. Today we will be starting off with the chapter 1.6 Alchemy of Nature. It's a very interesting lesson, and the theme of this particular lesson is related to what we can learn from the different elements of nature. Every element of nature, children, teaches us something or the other, and what we can learn from each of these elements, and why has the author used this particular word here, alchemy. Okay, now children, there are two meanings of this word alchemy. Alchemy word has got two meanings. The first one is, during the ancient times, the scientists made an attempt to convert base metals into gold. Gold is very precious. And so, therefore, an effort was made by scientists to find out if they could convert any base metal like copper or iron or any other metal into gold. So, several experiments were carried out to find out if base metals could be converted into gold. And this process is called as alchemy. And the scientists who were involved in it were called as alchemists. Here, in this particular lesson, however, the meaning of the word alchemy is something that has mysterious, magical process of transforming things, something that has magical powers. So, what has magical powers? The title goes as Alchemy of Nature. That means nature has got magical or mysterious powers, and it can use these powers to transform things. How can something get transformed because of nature? Let us read the lesson and let's find out more. The chapter begins with a small stanza taken from William Blake's poem. To see a world in a grain of sand. A grain of sand is a part of nature, but we can view something as tiny or something as small as a grain of sand can spark off any idea or imagination of huge significance to the world. Something which is very small can be of really great significance. That is what is the meaning. It can actually help us to have a great idea or imagination. To see a heaven in a wildflower. Go to the mountainside and you see just a wildflower, and that can help you to appreciate the beauty of nature. So it can give you so much of happiness and joy as if you are in heaven. Just viewing or looking at that wildflower blossoming or blooming somewhere can make you experience the beauty of heaven, and it can help you to derive or get a lot of joy. Hold infinity in the palm of your hands. Infinity is endless space. Your palm of your hand, the front part of your hand, that is very small, but it can hold the destiny of the earth, the fate of the earth through your efforts. You can achieve a lot. Okay, you can achieve a lot. Infinity is endless space, but your palm can hold the destiny of the earth through your efforts. You can change a lot of things. Okay, with the palm of your hand, through your efforts you can change a lot of things. That is the meaning here. And eternity in an hour. Eternity stands for endless time, children. Okay, time never waits for anybody, but just an hour of your life can make a difference to the world forever. For example, if an individual devotes, a doctor devotes 1 hour or a part of a day in a week for serving the society free of charge, he gives his voluntary services, treats patients for free, 1 hour, and he's an experienced doctor. Thus, he makes a lot of difference to the entire world because he is serving humanity. That 1 hour or half a day that he is giving, that is that endless time, and he contributes a lot and makes a lot of difference to the world forever. In other words, great deeds can surpass, go beyond the limits of time and space. They never die. People die, they pass away. But however, the deeds that have been performed by them live on in the memories of the individuals who are still alive. That is why it is said that we live, our lifespan is measured. Life is not measured in years but in deeds. How long we have lived on this earth doesn't matter. But what we have achieved in that, even if our lifespan is short, अगर थोड़ा भी टाइम दिया गया है, उस थोड़े टाइम में तुमने क्या किया है? What did you do in order to make the world a better place? That is what matters a lot. So great deeds can surpass the limits of time and space. Even today, the people who lived many, many hundreds of years ago, we remember them even today. We celebrate their birth and death anniversaries. Why? Because of their deeds. So they never die, they remain, they become immortal because of their deeds. वो अमर हो जाते हैं उनके कर्मों के वजह से, उन्होंने जो कार्य किया है उसकी वजह से वो अमर हो जाते हैं. Let us now move on to the lesson, children. We instinctively turn to outdoor activities and nature as a way of relaxing and enhancing our well-being. This is very true when it comes to Mumbaikars. After working for a long period, we all need a short vacation. And what do? We instinctively, by a natural instinct, we turn towards nature. What do? We think of going for a picnic. We go think of going on a holiday. But where do we want to go? Do we go to a crowded place? No. If we want to relax, if we want to enhance our well-being, improve our well-being, okay, what do? We go to some place where we associate ourselves with nature. We go to the mountainside, or we go to the hill station, we go to a beach, or we go to a park and we relax and sit down, or we go to a resort where there's a lot of greenery, because nature has got this power in it to soothe and to nurture. Nature soothes and nurtures. Nature calms us down. We who are tensed, when we are not very comfortable, when we look at nature, nature has got this power to make us calm. Okay, calms down our nerves, and also it takes good care of us. In fact, everything that we get from is what we is everything that we need to survive, we get from nature. The air that we breathe, the water we drink, okay, the fruits and vegetables that we consume, the clothing that we wear, every single thing is provided to us by nature. The shelter that we live in, everything is provided to us by nature. So nature nurtures, it takes care of us. Nature fulfills all our requirements, and it motivates also. There are great lessons to learn from nature. And what lessons we can learn from nature? This lesson is all about that. Nature whispers and commands. Just the nature has got this ability to calm us, to help us to relax, relieve us all of all our tensions and stress. But at the same time, when the balance in nature is spoiled to a certain extent, nature commands. Nature shows that it is the master. All the disasters which happen, like floods, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, they all show that nature sometimes becomes the master and it commands. Are you listening? The writer has put up a rhetorical question here. If you listen, are you listening? And when I do, it leaves me in complete awe. When I listen to nature, when I look at nature, when I draw inspiration from nature, I am completely wonder-struck. So instinctively, by a natural instinct, all of us naturally, we get attracted to nature. There is nobody in this world who will not like nature. They may like different aspects of nature. Someone may like going to the beach. Someone may dislike entering into the water, but that other person may think of going to the mountainside. Someone may like the desert, but someone else may definitely want to play some kind of sports in the mountain slopes where there's a lot of ice. So it varies from individual to individual, but everybody, each one of us instinctively turns to outdoor activities and to nature for relaxing and for improving, enhancing, enriching our well-being. Okay, so let us move ahead, children. Now, outdoor, I have highlighted two words here, outdoor and relaxing. Outdoor, antonym for outdoor, opposite is indoor. Relaxing, relaxed, stressed. Relaxed, stressed. Whispers, shouts. You can have opposites here. Okay. Complete, incomplete. Natural, artificial. Let's move ahead. So nature plays a very vital role in our lives. It enriches us, it motivates us, it fulfills, okay, it nurtures, it soothes us. Now the writer has started giving us examples. We have a hibiscus plant in our garden. Every fortnight, a flower blooms on it, big, bright, and tender. Here's a picture of hibiscus, जिसको हम जासवंत भी बोलते हैं. Lot of varieties are there. This particular plant is very significant and important because, and it is a flower which is specially offered to Lord Ganesha. It is very important because it sends, this particular plant has the ability to send out positive vibrations to its surroundings. That's why it's considered to be very, very important. One of the most important plants. Okay. And there are more than 1,000 varieties of hibiscus which can be found in different parts of the world. In India itself, you have different varieties. So we have a hibiscus plant in our garden. Every fortnight, every 15 days, a flower blooms. Blooms, it opens up. And how is the flower? There are three adjectives used: big, bright, and tender. Okay. And what does the writer say about this flower? It throughout the day it smiles with the sun and dances with the wind, but as evening approaches, it starts wilting. Okay. What about the it blooms during the day, smiles with the sun. Okay. Early in the morning, the flowers bloom. It dances with the wind, but as evening approaches, it starts wilting. Okay. It starts drying up. The morning after, it withers completely. Okay. It dries down completely and then it falls. By evening, it falls and becomes one with the earth again. The flower comes to life only for a day, yet it does so in full splendor. Although this particular flower gives joy to us and its lifespan is only one day, next day it withers and it falls to the earth and becomes one with the earth. Okay, but yet, even in that short lifespan, what does it do? It smiles with the sun, dances with the wind, and whoever has a look at it is filled with joy. Okay, that beauty of that flower is enjoyed by everybody. Okay, the flower comes to life only for a day, yet it does so in full splendor, magnificent splendor, magnificence. What if we too lived our life, however short, to the fullest? So, what lessons do we learn from the hibiscus? The Jaswan tells us that even though we may have a very short lifespan, just like the hibiscus, we can also live our life to the fullest. What is living life to the fullest, children? Okay, every individual, every individual has got a, everyone has got certain talents. No person is what to say, is a waste. Everyone's life has got, there is some purpose to everybody's life. And when we realize what we can do and we contribute every day without wasting time, we contribute to uh, something to the society, okay, and make our own lives better, then we live our life to the fullest. Do not postpone, or procrastination or postponing things to a later date will not help, because one thing or one truth or reality of life is we never know when we will pass away. It's a short life, and therefore what we should do is try to live life to the fullest. If you like dancing, enroll in some class and learn dancing. Age doesn't matter. Music, similarly, everybody has got some talent or the other. Do what you like. That's why the in the film Three Idiots he says that whatever you want to do, one lifetime is sufficient, and you can maximum whatever you want to achieve. If you start putting in efforts and you know what will give you happiness and joy, do that instead of trying to fulfill what others want you to do. Try to do what gives you joy and happiness. And great men like Swami Vivekananda, okay, Adi Shankaram, all of them had a very short lifespan, even Shivaji Maharaj, but then they lived life to the fullest. That's why they are remembered even today, because of their deeds. So therefore, live life to the fullest. The next example that the writer gives is that of a beach. We went to a rocky beach and saw the spread of the majestic ocean and the rock alongside. carved, sculpted, and shaped by water. Every minute, every single second on a rocky beach, okay, where the rocks are always, okay, they are washed by the water gushes in and washes the rocks, right? And so, therefore, the process of erosion continuously keeps happening. Although the rocks are very huge and the water is so gentle, okay, what happens is the water doesn't give up, and every minute it splashes on the rock, and finally it has its own way. Water is so gentle, rock so hard, yet as water flows over it every day for years, the rock gives in. The hard rock has to give in, and it gets the shape that the water wants it to. Okay, it becomes round and smooth because of the efforts put in by the water. So, how does the writer, what does the writer want to convey through this particular example? Every single second, the water doesn't give up saying that I am gentle, I can't do anything to the rocks. No, every single second it gushes in, it splashes with full force, it splashes over the rocks, and then the rocks have to change their shape. It slowly takes the shape that the water commands. Similarly, the writer says that our problems are so colossal. Everyone, each one of us has got problems in life. No one can say that my life is very smooth sailing. Life is not a bed of roses. And so, therefore, there are a lot of problems, huge problems, colossal, large problems are there. And we are so small. So, our problems are like rocks. They sometimes seem to be totally what to say difficult to cope up with, but and we are so small, yet if we persist, yet if we decide that we are not going to give up, okay, like water, we keep on putting in efforts, continuous efforts, in spite of having a lot of obstacles, we will have our way. Okay, so therefore at a particular point of time the problems will seem to be small, and we our willpower will be strong enough to tackle and help us to tackle those problems. So, rocky beach, and water give us the lessons of never give up. Okay, be have your willpower, be confident, and move ahead in life. We saw small bits of grass peeping through small cracks in concrete pavement. Small, small bits. Again, small is adjective, describing word. Small cracks, cracks noun, small again adjective. Concrete pavement. Pavement is noun and concrete will be adjective. So this particular lesson, children, has got a lot of describing words. Describing words are called as adjectives. It left us thinking, however impossible things may look, there is always an opening. Okay. It is very difficult. Nature finds its own way. The blade of grass, although there is no soil, yet it sprouts and it comes up and it peeps through the concrete pavement. Okay, people may trample over it, they may walk over it, but yet it doesn't give up. And the lesson that we get is however impossible things may look, there is always an opening. If you don't give up your hope, if you're hopeful, if you're optimistic, in every situation you can find a way out. Solutions are always there. That's why even impossible says I am possible. So the hibiscus, the lessons that we learn from hibiscus: live life to the fullest. The rocky beach and water, what do they teach us? We learn that our problems in life may be colossal, but yet if we persist and we don't give up, we will be able to tackle our problems very easily. The grass, blades of grass that start growing on a concrete pavement, okay, in a small opening, we get lessons that however impossible things may look, there is always an opening. We saw a tree bare of all leaves in the cold winter months. We thought its chapter was over. Its chapter was over, it was dead. Here, actually, it is an example of a figure of speech called euphemism. Euphemism is a figure of speech where a harsh reality is described in a mild way. So, here, chapter was over stands for death. For example, generally in euphemism, you're describing death in different ways in a mild way. He joined his forefathers. Okay, he was laid to rest. So he passed away. Okay, so that way we thought its chapter was over. We thought it was dead. So especially the deciduous trees that are there in our region, they uh, they shed all their leaves during the winter months, and they become complete. They look as if they are totally dead. This is because they have to survive the next 4 summer months where water availability is less. So to prevent evapotranspiration, the trees shed off all their leaves in cold winter months. Bare is without. We saw the tree bare, that is without any leaves. So here is an image of a tree which is without any leaves, but then after a period of 3 months, spring set in and the tree was back to its green majesty once again. In the month of in the month of November, October, November, the tree starts shedding its leaves. By the time it is December, the winter month, it is completely like this. And then the beginning of February, mid of February and March, during a little before holy time, you will find that the plant is again, the trees again full of leaves, flowers, birds come and build their nest, and it's full of life. What if we too had the conviction, firm belief that however difficult things are right now, it will not remain so forever. Remember, this too shall pass. Okay. So never give up. Again, that is the message conveyed here. Good and bad times, children, do not remain so forever. One day you may be at a party, you may be enjoying, you may be wearing the best of clothes, jewelry, you may be having your fun time with your friends, relatives. At night when you return back home, some relative of yours, okay, a parent of yours, someone is suddenly becomes unwell, and the next day morning all of you are in the hospital, and then you're standing outside the hospital shedding tears. So good and bad times don't remain so forever. It is all cyclic. So good times are followed by bad times, sorrowful times, again sorrowful times don't remain forever. And then, so therefore, we must never resort to any harsh decisions, never give up in life. Be patient when things go wrong, and just wait, because at the end of the tunnel there is always light at the end of the tunnel. So we life situations in life may come up that we may have difficult situations one after the other, but we should have the firm belief that things, however difficult things are right now, it will not remain so forever. Remember, this too shall pass. Every difficult situation you have to tell yourself, okay, someone ditches you, someone cheats you, or even if you meet with failures at a certain point of time, okay, remember, this too shall pass. This can become a, what to say, a very important sentence in your life, which can help you to overcome all the situations, especially when we face disappointments and when we are stressed out, everything seems to be going the opposite way, and not upper as our plans, and we get easily perturbed or we get disturbed. But at that time, we must remember this one line, which, if we remember this, we will be able to very easily overcome the obstacles. Patience and perseverance both are required during difficult times. Remember, this too shall pass. So, from the tree, we learn that uh, although the tree seems to be totally barren and seems to be dead, in the next 3 months, it undergoes a total change and it's full of leaves, flowers, birds, and life. Nothing remains the same forever. Change is a part and parcel of life. We saw an army of ants pulling with great difficulty a fly which was at least 10 times the ant's size. Bismarck, the Chancellor of Germany during the First World War, was once asked, if you are given a chance to come back to the earth, and you are given the choice of being any creature on this earth, okay, what will you choose? Which creature will you choose? What would you be? What would you like to be reborn as? He said, I would like to come down to this earth as an ant. He chose such a lowly creature or small creature like the ant, which can be trampled upon by anybody. Okay. But why did he select? So he was asked, why do you select the ant? He says, they are the most disciplined and organized of the lot. So therefore, the ants, we have a lot, there is a lot that we can learn from the ants. And one of the most important things that we learn is that They organize themselves around the fly. If they get a particular food which is quite big in size, they don't try to drag it all on their own. They inform the others, they all come together, and cooperation, teamwork makes them lift even a creature that is 10 times larger than its own size and carry it to quite a distance. So teamwork and organized efforts is very, very important. They never give up. Yes, they make all sorts of efforts in order to uh, ov- um, have their way. Teamwork and perseverance. Perseverance, constant efforts in spite of obstacles. Perseverance, children, is a key to success. If you want to be successful, you must put in constant efforts, not be bogged down by the failures. Failures are, in fact, stepping stones to success. And at different points of time, teamwork plays a very important role. Union is strength, united we stand, and divided we fall. So, therefore, from the ants we learn teamwork and perseverance. Their teamwork and perseverance, two qualities, are very, very impressive. What if we too are consistent, steady in our efforts, organized and focused? Many a times, why do people fail? Because they are not consistent in their efforts. One day during the examination, they will work for 4 days, but all the other days they laze around and they while away their time. But if you put in continuous efforts, and your efforts, it is you are steady in your work, okay, in anything, you're disciplined, and you have a proper planning for everything, you're organized, focused, automatically success is yours. From ants, we learn teamwork and perseverance. Going ahead with the lesson, children. Spider webs are delicate yet very strong. Look at the spider. How beautifully, as if you know, it is one of the best architects of the world. Okay, the way it weaves its web, beautiful, and it doesn't have any measuring tape or compass or anything like that. But then look at the perfect distancing between the in the web, and how it makes, how it weaves a web, and it looks very delicate. But a very strong fly, even if it comes and it gets entangled here, it will never be able to escape from the spider's web. So delicate things are not a sign of weakness. Okay, so those things which are delicate, they are not necessarily weak. So they have their own powers, and when time comes, you will realize how strong they are. So delicate things, if things are delicate, it is not a sign of weakness. A rainbow colors the entire sky. One drop of water, when ray of light passes through it, seven colors get reflected, and the sky is so big, so vast, okay, expansive. So but then the entire sky gets covered with a colorful rainbow. So therefore you can be a rainbow in someone's life, add on color to someone's life through your efforts, through your cooperation, by motivating them. This is what the rainbow teaches us. So a rainbow colors the entire sky. You can make a lot of difference to the entire life of another individual by cooperating, motivating, inspiring that particular person. A small step taken can make a huge difference in someone's life. The next example that the writer comes up with is oyster. All of us are fond of pearls, okay? Now, in this formation of these pearls, it's a very difficult story for the oyster. Now, oysters are found in the base of the ocean, and therefore what happens, and it has got its shell, and its shell, there is a slight opening on the side, okay, and the body of the oyster is very, very soft, jelly like. And but when sometimes when a grain of sand enters into its body, it irritates the oyster. It's not able to throw it out because the base of the oyster's body is, that shell is inside like a cup shape, and so therefore it is not able to throw off that grain of sand. And so what does it do? It knows that it cannot throw it out, and it hurts a lot. The grain of sand keeps on troubling this particular oyster. So the oyster releases certain chemicals from its own body, covers up that grain of sand, and over a period of time, that changes or it gets transformed into a pearl. So there are here you have one pearl, here again another one. Look at the body of the oyster, very soft and jelly-like. So imagine if a grain of sand enters into this, how difficult or how troublesome it would be for the oyster. But yet, what does it do? It changes the weakness into its strength and emerges out with a beautiful pearl. Change weakness into strength. Many a times there are people who are handicapped, okay, but yet they don't give up. They decide that their own handicap can be changed into their strengths, and they work hard, and they try to convert their weakness into their strengths. Innumerable stars shine across the infinite sky. Innumerable, that which cannot be counted. Infinite, again, two words almost have the same meaning. Infinite, that which is countless. So cannot be counted again. Lot of it is there. So infinite. What we do not know, what do the stars, from the stars, what do we know? Even if we keep on looking at the stars, observing it, trying to find out how many are there, yet we will not be able to definitely know how many stars are there in this entire or in the sky. Because at various points of time certain stars are clearly seen, some of them are not seen. What we do not know is far more than what we know. Mankind boasts, he say things that he knows everything. But if we remember, if we try to tell ourselves that what we do not know is far more than what we know, that keeps us grounded, and that keeps us humble all the while. So therefore a very great writer has again said, stay hungry, stay foolish. If you think that you are foolish and you stay hungry for knowledge, you will keep on acquiring knowledge. So he says, stay hungry, stay foolish. But if you start believing that I'm intelligent, I know everything, your quest for acquiring more knowledge stops at that point of time. But if you feel that what I don't know is far more than what I know, you will keep on making an effort to learn and understand and seek new knowledge. Clouds take new shapes with every passing moment. The clouds are taken away by the wind to larger distances, and therefore they take new shapes with every passing moment. Change is the only constant thing in life. So, therefore, over a period of time, everything changes, but you should learn how to adapt to the changes that take place. That is very, very important. It takes new shapes with every passing moment. Wind makes the trees dance with unhindered passion, unhindered, unobstructed. Okay. Now, when there is a storm, big trees fall off because they don't bend. But what happens to the blades of grass? They stand. The storm passes away, but they remain. They don't fall off. So therefore, when we when we decide to adjust according to the situation, then we can overcome the obstacles. Accept and go with the flow. That is the lesson that we get from the wind. Wind makes the trees dance with unhindered passion. Water, without a hint of ego, changes its form according to the dictates of the sun and the wind. When we decide that we want to do something better, to make the society a better place, we want to achieve something, and our goals are basically for the betterment of the society and the good of mankind, then what is it that we have to shed off? We have to give up our ego, the feeling of I, मैंने किया, ये मेरा है, मैं नहीं होता तो कुछ नहीं होता था, मेरे से ही ये सब है. Okay, the feeling that everyone is only an instrument in the hands of the almighty or divinity. God proposes, man proposes, God disposes. That is, many times things don't go according to as what we have planned. We have to remember that there is almighty who decides the destiny of everyone and everything. Okay, so water, what does it do? The water remains. Water is something which it is immortal, you can say, because it only changes its form. First, when it comes in contact with sun, it evaporates. It changes into water. It changes into water vapor. Goes up when the temperature when the temperature uh, is high, it changes into vapor, it goes up. As it moves up, what happens? Temperature becomes low and it changes its form and it becomes water droplets again. When it becomes again heavy, then it falls down when there's a strong gush of wind. The wind takes the cloud from one place to the other, and these water droplets, they are heavy, so therefore they fall down. And due to gravitational forces, they are pulled down, and so therefore it comes down in the form of rain. Again, it rushes through streams and because small rill streams, and then a river, and then it comes back to the ocean, and wherever the water is, again it evaporates. So only its form changes, but it remains forever. So, in other words, if you want to be there forever, what you have to do is you have to give up your ego, right? Adapt yourself to the changing times, and see to it that you do things which are for the betterment of everyone, and that will help you to become immortal. It's a beautiful picture of a caterpillar and a butterfly. Um, a very beautiful poem was written by a great poet, and wherein he talks about a fight between a caterpillar and a butterfly. There's a conversation where a butterfly and a caterpillar, they're talking to each other, and this poet, okay, Enid Blyton, he has written this particular poem, and he says that the caterpillar sat on a cabbage and he was eating all day, and the butterfly comes, flashing its wings, and he says that, oh, you are such a stupid creature. All that you do is eat, 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 and eat all day long. Look at me. I am so beautiful. I have colorful wings. I can fly around and see the world. So the caterpillar says, I'm the way I am. So don't worry about me. And I'm very happy about it. And the butterfly, they have a fight. Now, all those small little creatures who are there in that garden, they start smiling and laughing. Okay, and the poet says, I know the reason. Do you? What is the reason? The caterpillar will keep on eating children, and at a later date, in the same leaf, it will build a cocoon. But when it emerges, it will be a butterfly. So, therefore, the butterfly doesn't know that it was a caterpillar. The caterpillar doesn't know that soon it's going to turn or transform into a beautiful butterfly. So, when we see a caterpillar getting transformed into a butterfly. In science, you learn it as metamorphism, okay? Or a tadpole turn into a frog. We experience, or a flower changing the base of the flower, changing into a fruit. We experience the alchemy of nature. We touch it and become gold ourselves. What is alchemy of nature? The writer says that when we look at nature around us and learn lessons from nature, and implement it in our own lives, we can magically be transformed to become gold ourselves. What is gold? We will not become metals, but we will become as good as gold. Okay? So we become precious. We become precious. We become good human beings ourselves. We become precious for all those who are there around us. Okay? So therefore, caterpillar changing into butterfly, a flower turning into fruit, we experience the alchemy of nature. There are two meanings of the word alchemy. And by the end of the lesson, both the meanings seem to actually merge into each other. Alchemy, the process of converting any base metal into gold, which was tried out by scientists during the medieval and ancient times. Scientists tried to do that, but they were not successful, because you can't change anything which is by nature, which is uh, a base metal, has got its own characteristic feature, so it cannot change or transform into gold. Okay, so nature changes something, that is, gold is something which is given to us by nature. So therefore, alchemists were unsuccessful in their efforts. But alchemy means changing or transforming something into gold. So it has got this magical powers, mysterious or magical powers, having mysterious or magical powers. That process can't change anything into gold, but then what alchemy of nature here means, nature has got these magical and mysterious powers of transforming something into gold. In other words, we can transform ourselves to become better day by day if we learn the various lessons from the elements of nature. Here you have a web diagram, children. What does nature do for human beings? Nature motivates, this is in the first paragraph. Nature motivates, nature enhances, improves our well-being, it relaxes, it helps us, it commands, it whispers, it fulfills, it nurtures, it soothes. A web diagram where you don't have to add anything of your own. You have to just look into the paragraph which is given and put down the points. So what is the central idea of this entire lesson? It speaks about the power of everyday elements of nature which helps us to transform our lives. How can we become gold ourselves? How can we change our lives for better? Okay, by learning the most valuable lessons of life from the elements of nature. And when we implement, not just learning or reading the lesson, but try to implement it in your life, and that can help you to transform. The mysterious powers of nature can help you to become better. It's like magic. Besides giving pleasure, nature has lessons for life, and it is up to us what we learn from it and how we implement these lessons. There are a lot of experiences the best teacher. We learn a lot from our own experiences. Trial and error method. We make mistakes, we learn from it. Okay, but how we implement, how somebody may keep repeating the mistake again and again and again. So that means that particular person has not learned anything from the previous experiences. But some people, most of us, what do? We know what has happened with us previously, so therefore we are careful, more cautious in future. So therefore we learn lessons from our various experiences, past experiences, and see to it that these mistakes are not repeated in future. If we learn lessons from nature, if we learn it and implement these lessons, we experience the alchemy of nature. Magical and mysterious powers of nature can help us to become better individuals. That is what is the lessons that we learn from that is what is given in this particular chapter. Now in the English workshop you have 2 3 questions. Read the question from the lesson. What do they imply? Are you listening? Rhetorical question has been asked by the writer here. Listen to the message given by nature through smallest of things. And what examples does the writer give here? Are you listening? Listen to the message given by. Wake up. Sometimes you see things, but you never realize that they are so important. So listen to the message given by nature through the smallest of things. Every element of nature has some lesson to convey, some message to convey. If we too lived our life, however short, to the fullest? We must live life to the fullest. Living life to the fullest is trying to do whatever we are best at, trying to develop our talents, and irrespective of our lifespan, okay, life would be different and we would be happier if we do so. Sometimes what happens, like for example, that uh, lifespan is very small. We never know what can happen, what can go wrong at what point of time. But if we have lived life to the fullest, we will not have any regret of leaving this world at any point of time. What if we too are consistent, organized, and focused? Nothing will seem to be impossible. Even a Herculean or a very, very great task or a huge task will become a child's play for us. So anything and everything can be done in a best manner if provided we plan out, we put in steady efforts, we are organized and focused. Okay. There are two contrasting features here of rock and water. How is water? Gentle, commanding, majestic, and persistent. It doesn't give up. How is a rock? It is hard. Finally, it has to give in. It takes the shape that water commands. It gets carved, sculpted, and shaped, and it is indomitable. Every aspect of nature, summing up the lesson here, children, every aspect of nature teaches us something. The rainbow, the hibiscus, we said, live life to the fullest. Rocky beach uh, talks and water talks about how persistent efforts can help us to achieve our goals. Rainbow colors the entire sky. What does it mean? That you can spread beauty. Value learned is you can spread beauty, and you can make things around you beautiful like a rainbow. Caterpillar turning into a butterfly, do not give up. Water changes its form, shows that change with changing times. Okay, so that if you want to remain and you want to get accepted, you have to change with changing times. Bare tree, bears leaves in the spring. Okay, difficult times will pass. Remember, this too shall pass away. Joyful and sorrowful times do not remain forever, and it is like everything undergoes a change over a period of time. Small bits of grass peeping through concrete pavement shows that nothing is impossible. A spider web looks very delicate, but it shows that delicate structures are not a sign of weakness. A big fly, which is much larger than the spider, okay, having more strength than the spider, enters the spider's web, it can never come out of it. So, therefore, delicate structures are not a sign of weakness. Ants can carry a fly 10 times larger than its size. That shows that teamwork, united we stand, divided we fall. And if there is teamwork, if we are persistent in our work, if we are organized, then a lot can be achieved. Okay, lessons learned from various elements of nature, if they are implemented by us, it's no use just learning this lesson for 10th standard. हाँ, alchemy of nature पढ़ा हम लोगों ने. Okay, but what lessons what is the takeaway from this particular chapter? Now that you are in a particular stage of life where everything doesn't happen the way you want it to. Okay, you face difficulties, and there are problems and obstacles, but never take any harsh decision in life. Be patient, especially when there are difficult times. What is required is being patient, and always remember that this too shall pass away. Okay, in real life, if we and live life to the fullest. Okay, do not be egoistic, stay grounded, stay humble. Always remember that what we know is very little, and what we have yet to know is very large. And so, therefore, keep learning, keep struggling, be persistent in your efforts, and automatically, if you implement these lessons learned from nature in real life, we magically can transform ourselves, and we can become gold ourselves. Thank you, children. And we come to the end of this particular lesson. I've tried to cover up even many of the activities that are given in the textbook. This particular lesson is there for the unit test. And what you need to do is read it up. You can learn the question answers and all in detail at a later date. 1.1 poem, 1.2 that is thief story, 1.4 1.4, and you have 1.6. 1.5, we will take it up after the unit test. Grammar portion, a lot of it has been covered. Watch the videos that I have sent earlier related to the grammar topics. We have also done drafting a speech and expansion of idea, and I have given notes also. I forwarded notes in PDF format, and all that. If you revise, you will be able to very easily um, answer the Google form. The entire test will be in the Google form format. Okay. Thank you, children. Have a nice day.